Welcome to the Landmark Baseball Podcast. My name is Josh. Over there in California is Neil. We got some stuff to talk about today. Jake Odorizzi is now an Astro. JBJ is now a Brewer. There's a 47-year-old man playing on the Mariners practice squad. Neil, first off, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Really like the Odorizzi signing. I didn't know he went to the Astros, but yeah, that's very interesting, to say the least. Makes him a lot scarier in the American League. But yeah, doing great.
Yeah, definitely move the needle a little bit for me. We can start there. Odorizzi to Houston, 2 years. We don't know the money amount. I've looked at dozens of articles and no one really had like a pinned down amount. I would assume somewhere in the realm of like 10 mil a year. Just an assumption. Neil, before I get into a little bit of the numbers, what's your first impression of Jake Odorizzi?
Um, he's just like a above average pitcher, I guess. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
That's about right.
Yeah.
He's been in the league a while. He was kind of a top prospect for I think the Royals back in like 2012 or something like that. Went to the Rays, then he went to the Twins, found some success on both those teams. He's a career 105 ERA plus, so like you said, just above average. This will be his age 31 season. But really, the point of Jake Odorizzi is to eat innings. He hasn't had a season where he's pitched less than 140 innings since 2014, minus 2020. So just a solid middle of the rotation arm to eat innings. And the Astros could use a guy like him for sure.
I'm trying to pull up their projected pitching rotation, and yeah, looking at it. So Zach Greinke, Lance McCullers Jr., Odorizzi, Urquidy, and Javier. And I mean, that's actually a pretty solid starting five. I mean, Greinke, I mean, he's getting, up there in age, but he's, still has some pretty good stuff. I mean, McCullers, Odorizzi, I think, you're gonna get, at least some solid innings out of them. And then Urquidy and Javier, there's some young guys with the upside, I believe. So I definitely like the Astros
Important to
rotation a lot
mention
more now.
Christian Javier, who was one of their up and coming young guys last year, kind of came out of nowhere, performed really well. He has hurt his finger and will likely be out for the year. I think he broke it during a spring training game. So maybe the
Okay.
Odorizzi signing's kind of like desperation, like, I got to fill that spot.
Yeah.
Either way, they did a good job filling that role.
I mean, their offense still looks pretty solid despite the loss of Springer and
Oh, my bad. It's Framber Valdez, I think, that
oh yeah,
is injured.
Framber
Yeah, he's the
Valdez,
one that's
Forrest
injured.
Whitley, Justin Verlander.
Framber was great in the postseason for them last year. I
Yeah,
think it was him and who's the other pitcher that they used? Urquidy. Him and Urquidy just took games like 1-2. They would retire like 8 in a row at certain times, and they were lights out against the A's, and I think they played the White Sox pretty well too. No, that was A's White Sox, my bad. But they pitched the A's really well.
I liked what I saw from them in the year they lost to the Nationals also, and that other guy, Josh James, he's also injured, but I mean he's a solid like a starting pitcher. They just had to use him out of the bullpen a lot, but
the bullpen does not give me a lot of confidence. It's a lot of like over 30 years old guys that, I mean, they've been around, but they're not really like that established. Like Ryan Presley's pitched for the Astros for like 7 years or something like that, but he's never been like the guy.
right.
They got Pedro Baez from the Dodgers this offseason. That was a good addition. Ryan Stanek, he was like the initial starter for the Rays back when they first tried that a few years ago. But I mean, the bullpen is, I guess, sufficient for now. But the rotation just became one of the probably a top 7 rotation in baseball, if not better. 7's a little modest.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it. I mean, not too many teams though have 1 through 5, where
Right.
you could say it's pretty solid.
And we're looking at a situation now where they signed Odorizzi for 2 years, probably because Verlander's out this year, and then next year they'll have Verlander, Odorizzi. I think McCullers is still signed through that year. Urquidy, Javier, Valdez. I don't know if Greinke's still around. I think he has that 1 more year, but that's a pretty insane rotation.
I think it says 60L for status by Verlander. I don't know what that means, but I don't know if that means like 60
A 60-day IL.
or yeah,
He's
60
out
day.
for the year.
Oh,
He had
okay.
TJ.
I was gonna say something else. Yeah. Oh yeah, Fangraphs. Their projected ERA is not too great though. I mean, everyone, Javier's is like a 5. Pretty much everyone else's is like 4s except for McCullers. So I guess Fangraphs disagrees with us about this rotation, but I mean, we'll see. I think it's
By
better than.
Fangraph standards, that's probably pretty accurate. Like they kind of or I guess underrate pitchers and stuff like that. So like if they do better, I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't think they would be either. But this is like their
Right.
floor, I would say. Like Greinke with the 4 ERA, I don't think he's ever done that since he was like a rookie, maybe.
I'm gonna check DeGrom's Fangraphs expected ERA.
They probably got
I'm
him at
gonna
like a
guess.
3.3 or something.
No, he was
That's
a
my guess.
2.8.
Never mind. Greinke has never gone under 4, except in 2020 he was 4.03, and then which I don't think holds much weight. And then in 2010 he was a 4.17. That was the last time he was a true 4.
Yeah.
It was back on the Royals, and his ERA plus was still 100. So
Solid.
Greinke's gonna go into the Hall of Fame. I think he's
Yeah.
been around for so long. This is his like 17th season. Insane. Watching a 20-year-old Greinke pitch in KC was pretty cool. Obviously, I didn't watch him, but like seeing clips and stuff. Do you have anything else on this? Angels fans should be pretty pissed off.
They might win the American League now. Who knows? They might be the Yankees. They might beat the White Sox.
I don't quite put Houston over like even the A's. Maybe the rotation I think is just they're too comparable in the rotation. But I like the A's bullpen better. I like the A's offense better.
But even in the playoffs, like let's say, right, we said they have 5 guys who we like, but let's say one of them isn't that great, but 4 of them are. That's perfect for the playoffs because you only need 4
Oh yeah.
pitchers. So I mean, who knows?
Oh, I'll take Houston in the playoffs over the A's anytime. I'll take
Right.
Houston over the White Sox, over the Blue Jays in the playoffs, just because they've been there so many times. Those guys know how to lock down. I mean, Carlos Correa last postseason was arguably better than a Rosarena. He was just hitting the ball harder, but obviously less of a time period.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, how all these teams do, but I guess we have to wait and find out.
But yeah, Angels fans should be pissed. Blue Jays fans should be pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're the two most heavily affected. The Mets kind of short up their rotation. Like they would benefit from this, but I don't think Mets fans are really crying over losing Odorizzi.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got for Odorizzi. It happened this morning, so it's relatively recent news, but I don't think it moves the needle too much.
Right.
Jackie Bradley Jr. signed with the Milwaukee Brewers, 2 years, $24 million. He actually had a really good season in Boston last year. He had a projected 6.2 WAR if they had played 162. Obviously, probably not sustainable, but
a
2.1 WAR across 55 games that's pretty good sample size for Jackie Bradley Jr. I mean, he was a starter on that 2018 Red Sox team, one of the best teams of all time. But to be able to secure at bats like that, he's a human highlight reel. He's always on Sports Center top 10s, especially with baseball plays. But well, that's a given. I like the Brewers outfield now a little bit more. They Yelich in right field, Avisayo Garcia, wherever they throw him, left or right. And then it'll be Lorenzo Cain, and Jackie Bradley Jr. kind of competing for center field.
This one I see on Fangraphs, Yelich is projected left field, Cain in center field, Bradley in right. So, and then Garcia on the bench.
Garcia on the bench. I think they'll just do a lot of like head-to-head matchups and like see who's better for each day. Obviously, Yelich is going to be there every day. They're going to. I
like that defensively though. I think Cain and.
Oh yeah, that's a great outfield.
Right. I actually really like
Just wish
that
they had the
outfield, yeah.
DH.
And then if you look about it, they have a really a lot of great defense everywhere. You've Colton Wand at second base, Kane in center. Yeah, all your outfielders really good. I mean, almost as good as the Dodgers outfield. But Dodgers outfield, I've been watching actually like recent highlights of them, and they're just ridiculous. All the plays Betts makes at the wall, same with Bellinger, and then just their speed also. How quickly they get to a lot of like flyouts or hard hit balls. I mean, definitely makes a huge difference in the games, and it just goes underrated because they just run down balls so easily and like make it look so easy. But definitely nice to have a huge outfield. And I mean, I really like this Brewers team. I mean, really their only holes I'd say are catcher. They have Omar Narvaez, who's kind of like, you
He's
know,
pretty good. He's had some when he was at the Mariners a couple years ago. He was having a pretty good season. They traded for him, but definitely an above average catcher.
yeah. I mean, he hasn't like done anything recently though, right?
I think
Like,
he's actually been getting better. Actually, I want to double check
and then I
this.
don't really like Arcia. I mean, the only time I know Arcia doing good was in the playoffs against the Dodgers, or like that year when they lost to the Dodgers in the playoffs. He was pretty hot at some points, but other than that, really haven't liked too much of him. And then their bench is solid, I guess. They have Urias, who that's your boy, I guess. Definitely not mine.
It's my
And
boy.
then Garcia and Manny Pena, but I mean Brewers pretty solid team. I mean, hopefully
I
Yelich
like this
comes
team a lot
back.
more than what a lot of people would probably give it
Does
credit
as
for.
well.
Yeah, this is a pretty plus team. I hope Yelich can bounce back because I mean that puts them over the top. I think if Hero works out, that puts them that raises their stock a bit. If Colton Wong comes in, I mean, if he just does what he's been doing, great leadoff hitter. Lorenzo Kane can kind of tap into that 6 WAR season he had a couple years ago. Travis Shaw's been a good hitter for them. I mean, this team has a lot of talent. Omar Narvaez, by the way, bad 2020, 53 OPS plus, but in 2018 and 19, he was in 119 both years. So above average catcher, at least on offense. I don't care about his defensive numbers really. They don't really have a backup catcher, but it's okay. Manny Pena can kind of play catcher. Like them a lot. The rotation is plus. They're obviously they have Hader and Williams in the pen, and that's some days that's going to be all you
Hopefully
need.
they don't come season start. But yeah. I'm saying hopefully haters on the Padres, but
What if I
yeah.
told you Josh Hader was only a couple months older than Devin Williams?
Really?
He's like 3 months younger. Williams
But
is.
club control, that's the big factor.
Yeah, it just feels like we've known who Josh Hader was for like 5 years or something.
I mean, because we have, right? I mean, he's been on the scene a lot longer than Devin Williams has.
Uh, this is his 4th year,
Okay, so we've
and
known
then
him for
this is
4
Devin
years.
Williams' 2nd year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
like the
right.
Brewers a lot. You got any thoughts on this? I thought the Astros would probably get JBJ, but I suppose not.
Yeah, it would have been cool. Honestly, him on a lot of teams would have been cool. Just a great center fielder, premium defensive position. Just kind of hoping he'd go to the Mets or something, but with no DH, definitely
They got a ton of
hard.
outfielders over there
Yeah, that too.
for a lot
So
cheaper.
yeah, I mean,
This might be a bit of an overpay. He has a career 94 OPS plus, 12 million a year on this contract. That's the most he's made in his career, I believe. So yeah, maybe a slight overpay, but they got the flexibility,
right,
and it's a sensible signing. So
right.
I don't think anyone like missed out on JBJ. Okay, so there was this article that was posted onto I think it was Fangraphs a couple days ago, talking about the MLB's K rate problem. Obviously, we're seeing more strikeouts, more strikeouts, but more home runs, less contact, things like that. Everyone's aware of this. I think the Cubs president of baseball ops, Jed Hoyer, was like asked about what his strategy or things he wants to improve on this year. He said, we need fewer strikeouts, some better decision making, and better contact rates. This is the first like utterance of a team actively trying to improve on their K rate. I found it very interesting. Do you think this is like the beginning of more teams actively trying to create a hybrid of true outcome baseball? like the way it was played in like the early 2000s instead of what we're kind of used to right now. Like obviously this quote from them doesn't like kickstart a movement, but
So what
it tells us
exactly are
they're
they
aware.
trying to do?
They're trying to strike out less and hit the ball and play more. Is essentially what they're saying, which is not the direction that we've seen from most teams in
Those
recent
teams are
years.
trying to go home run or I mean, not necessarily. Padres last year did go for a lot of steal attempts, which is kind of contrary to,
You
what
guys had
you'd
a ton of
see.
strikeouts, so
Uh, that is true as well. But they would steal when you have a lot of guys who, like, you'd have Tatis on base and you'd have Machado at the plate, and they'd send Tatis. They'd have him steal in that situation. And I mean, you think about it, you don't even need a home run, but still, Machado's certainly capable of hitting home runs. I mean, you really wouldn't want someone stealing in that scenario. Plus, or a double with Tatis' speed, you could score. So. And I mean, the Dodgers necessarily didn't, but I don't think the Dodgers. I mean, I don't know. There's definitely some teams. I feel like the really the team that comes to mind is the Yankees with that philosophy of
yeah, for sure.
they're worried about like
Twins too.
OPS only. It feels like not necessarily like average. Like they're worrying about like yeah, they're gonna slug really high and their on base is gonna be really high. So I mean,
I think this is the direction that rebuilding teams should certainly embrace, and maybe
right.
the higher tier teams kind of do like a hybrid version of it. But if you're a rebuilding team, why aren't you looking for guys like Miguel Rojas who just hit the ball and play, make something happen, maybe shore up your defense? And I don't know, we're just seeing like rebuilding teams trying to do what the Dodgers do, and you obviously don't have the resources to do that. So like in my case, the Baltimore Orioles, like why aren't we are kind of doing it, but getting these defensive first infielders and maybe guys with good throwing arms or whatever in the outfield, and just more teams should be looking towards that instead of just guys who are light versions of things that better teams already have. Tigers did it last year with like CJ Crone and Jonathan Scott. What are you doing?
But my sister just like came to get my dog, and she wanted to show it on the screen.
What breed is
Yeah,
that?
uh, he's like a poodle of some sort. But yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah, but all right. Yeah, continue on about yeah, this is the direction you think rebuilding teams.
Yeah, defense first and contact minded teams. I don't know. I love
Yeah, like
80s
kind of like the
baseball, the way
Royals.
that was played. Yeah, like the 2015 Royals are the most recent example.
I mean, even right now that they're trying to do it, but
Kind of. They're just we're just in this baseball cold war where the best teams are just stockpiling what they can. Dodgers getting power, the Yankees doing what they did with their rotation this year, where teams like this,
I
I don't
will
know.
say though, this is going to be a marathon season for 160 games, and the Dodgers bench is weaker than it's ever been. They can't just, like DH Jock Peterson or like TJ Hernandez or obviously there's not going to be a DH, but or just bring them out like those guys are, playing on teams every day, like they should have been, and like they would have been these last couple years if they weren't on the Dodgers, but. So I mean, who knows? We'll see. That might matter a lot, especially when injuries come into play. And Padres definitely have a lot of good position players on their bench. So yeah, the bench players are Austin Barnes, backup catcher, Gavin Lux, Matt Beatty, and Edwin Rios. So I
I
mean, yeah,
mean, they lost Peterson and Kike, who were certainly
huge,
essential players of that bench.
right? And then Chris Taylor too. He was kind of a bench piece, but now he's gonna be their everyday second baseman. So in a
I believe they
sense,
said they want to give Luck second base, or they're going to give him a
right?
longer leash, which I like as a PSA
Yeah.
10 holder of his rookie card. But I mean, we forget he was a top prospect last year, so I would expect to see something out of him. Fangraphs has him hitting 17 homers, slugging 450, on base percentage of 320. I mean, those aren't the most respectable stats, but I mean, for a second baseman who's 23 years old. That's pretty good. I mean, it's certainly, like you said, though, not the bench of their past.
Right. Yeah, like just before they had two, everyday players on their bench, and I mean, like I said though, yeah, I mean, well, yeah, we'll see how it goes. It is 160 games, and they're the defending champs, and their rotation is definitely built for that long stretch, which is, I guess, what you'd rather have. But
They can just coast into the playoffs. I mean,
oh, no question, no question, yeah.
even
But
no offense, but over the Padres, I mean, even if they rest like one of their top five starting offensive players, so they're only playing five or six games out of the week instead of all seven. They can coast in pretty easily, I
right,
think.
no, they're definitely gonna coast in. There's no question about them. But I'm saying like even in the playoffs and like you lose like just even one of these guys, which should totally happen in your
Yeah,
offense. That's every day you're losing, someone like potentially great in your lineup. And I definitely think the Padres, they have some, backup guys who would be playing
more
every day on
reliable.
other teams. So
Well, you look, Austin Barnes would be a starting catcher on most major league teams. Gavin Lux would
right,
probably start on most 500 teams or lower, just for the potential alone.
right.
Matt Beatty could start on some of the lower tier
Him and
teams.
Rios, I would
Edwin
say
Rios,
lower
yeah,
tier.
yeah, for
But
sure. Um,
the Padres, though, I mean, like, I think Kim Profar, I mean, I don't know, yeah, Caratini, I don't know about him. He's like an all right backup catcher. I mean, he
we
was,
always get sucked into the NL West debate.
yeah,
But like,
it's a
think
good
about it.
debate.
It's
It's a good
it's pretty
debate.
realistic that they lose one of these big guys. Like, say Corey Seager, he's had an injury past. He goes down. They replace him with Chris Taylor or Gavin Lux. I mean, that's a huge downgrade. As is, that's a major part of their offense.
Or
And say they
even
lose someone like
Turner,
Turner or Betts, like
Rios. Rios
Muncy,
is,
even they lose one of
right,
those guys. They're on the same level, if not on a lower level than the Padres. Like, you still need to score at least 2 to 3 runs a game in order to kind of guarantee yourself wins, even with the rotation. So it'll be interesting to see how they would handle a major injury. Obviously, I think they'll still be fine, but they'll definitely won't be as confident as they are right now.
right. And the playoffs are, you know, players are kind of super, luck anyways, or not like,
Who's
they're
hot
kind
and
of,
who's not? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that
I
can
think the
certainly play
Dodgers
a
are
huge
probably the
factor in
only
that.
team that transcends the who's hot, who's not thing under full health circumstances, but
Right.
the rest of the teams are playing for who's on the streak.
But
Got anything on the D on the improving K rates in the MLB?
um, hopefully we'll see that. I guess. Who knows? Maybe Jock Peterson will like win MVP as a result. He'll just like not strike out a lot. Just like,
I love Jock in a Cubs uni. I just hope
yeah.
he plays every day there. He should.
Oh, he should. He will. I mean, I don't. Let's check fan drafts. Why not? Since
I don't know. I mean, they don't have a lot of outfield options. Peterson's terrible against lefties, but I think they'll take him over whoever else they can throw out there.
Right, but he really
Uh,
hasn't gotten a shot like every day, so that might like help him
the
out.
few times he has played against lefties, it's been pretty bad. It's been rough. They got as replacements for the outfield, they have David Bodie, who's played some outfield. Eric Sogard, who they signed. I thought that was interesting because their stud top prospect, Nico Horner, is competing for second base, and it's probably his anyway, but they just signed Eric Sogard to probably like add in the competition for it. I think
Mhm.
that's a pretty cool move. And then like Jake Marisnik is out there. I mean, the Jock's probably gonna have to play every day. I don't know Jake Marisnik's stats against lefties, but they can't be much worse than
President's bad.
Peterson's. Marisnik's really bad.
Yeah, no, I don't know about the stats for against lefties, but I'm just saying, like, my opinion of Merznick, like, he's trash. Like, so yeah, I don't think he's that great.
He's good on
But
D.
is he though? I feel like I have a lot of memories with him with the Astros, like getting balls go by him or something, or Just trying to play too hard. But I
Take
just
a
yeah,
look.
I just yeah, the Astros did play him in center field over Springer at times, and then moved Springer to right.
He just strikes out so much and has like no patience at the plate. His 5% walk rate is like 4% lower than MLB average. They moved Baseball Reference around a little bit. Oh, there we go. Yeah, his D-WAR has been positive every season of his career. So in 2016, he played in 118 games, had a 2 D-WAR. It's pretty good.
Yep.
His WAR for the season was 1.7 though. The bat brought him down. Oh wait, I wanted to look at his splits. Just look at career. Baseball Reference is great. They added like K rates and walk rates and stuff now, like some of the more advanced baseball savant type stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to check D-WAR.
It's nice to see. Against lefties, he is only slightly better than he is against righties. 238 batting average, 294 on base, 711 OPS. I mean, that's probably better than Jock's. His OPS plus against lefties is 113, so I guess he's slightly got the edge over Jock. I want to see how actual terrible Jock's lefty splits are.
Oh, I just found defensive WAR.
Jock against lefties is quite terrible. A 45 OPS plus. Batting average of 191. He's hit 9 home runs against lefties in his career. Jock has 130 career home runs. That's awesome for a bench guy.
He is really good.
I like Jock a lot. I do wish he was better against lefties. Then he'd play more.
Yep.
All right, got anything else on the K rates? I think we've covered about every nook and cranny of that.
Yeah.
In the Mariners' alternate game, there was a 47-year-old man by the name of Ichiro Suzuki playing in the field and taking at bats. Mike Cameron was also there, former Mariner. You might not know who Mike Cameron was. He played probably about a decade, 15 years in the majors, bounced around a lot of teams, but his best seasons were in Seattle. But obviously, you know who Ichiro was. So it's cool to see that the Mariners are bringing these guys back. They had one of their old infielders, Iwakuma, was in showing the guys how to do stuff. And I don't know if other teams do it this often, but this is the only team I've heard this offseason with this many former players coming. I think it's cool. Ichiro just wants to play baseball.
Yeah, certainly did look after everything that's happened, so
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, why not, Ichiro wants to play baseball like you said, so let him. I guess
47 years old. That's insane. I feel like an old
47.
man waking up some
He
days
did
and
still
just gets up and does it.
he did still just hit 300 in the majors if you wanted to, but he's
Probably
over
not.
it. Yeah.
All right. Not a lot of other news for the week, but we thought we'd do our preseason predictions for the winners of each division, the wild cards, both of them, and then both of them per league, and then the champion. So, Neil, who's your AL East pick for the division winner?
Surprise, surprise. I'm going with the Evil Empire, and
Yeah, I did too.
and didn't have to go with the NY Yankees, baby, New York. So
Hate to say it, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to talk yourself into the Blue Jays going over them, and I don't think the Rays are quite there this year. We've had this conversation a few different times on this podcast, so we can leave the AL East. I am writing down both of our selections. We'll see how we do at the end of the year.
that's actually this is gonna be really interesting. The date is 3/7/2021, so we'll see how this
right.
goes.
We'll save it on the permanent private notes.
Yep.
There we go. All right, AL Central, what you got?
AL Central. I have to go. I was gonna say the Astros, but they're the AL West. But AL Central, I am gonna go with It's tough. I'm still coming down to the last second. I don't know if I want to go Twins or White Sox. I'm gonna go with the Twins. I just like their offense
Going
more.
Twins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, I'm going Twins. I might just be totally wrong over the long season. I kind of want to take it back and go Indians and out as I like their pitching more.
You take the Indians? I don't think there's any world that the Indians.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to like look at both teams right now, Dad. I should have wrote it down. I should have made up my decision and picked one. Nah, I said Twins.
Own it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
I
in favor
selected
of it.
the White Sox for my division winner. I think an extra year of Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert developing. I mean, I think that's all the difference over the Twins. The rotation got better, the bullpen got better, and they still beat the Twins. No, the Twins beat them out by like one game, but I don't think the Twins got any better. The rotation got worse, the bullpen got worse. They kind of kept
Right.
the same guys on offense. So, I'm taking the White Sox.
Um. Yeah, I kind of want to pick the White Sox now too, but
Convinced.
yeah. All right. Yeah. Just secretly changing on the White Sox, and we'll be done, I guess. So
All
yeah.
right. I convinced you before we talked about our AL
Yeah.
West.
Before. ALS, I'm definitely going Astros. I'm definitely going Astros.
Definitely going
Yeah.
Astros. Huh?
So. So
I took
yeah.
the A's. I just think that they got better in departments that the Astros did not improve upon. So they signed Odorizzi, the Astros did, but the A's have had a solid like 1 through 4 in the rotation, and it's just getting better every year. They added Trevor Rosenthal in the bullpen after losing Liam Hendricks. They just always find guys in the staff. They lost Marcus Simeon, but the Astros lost George Springer. So I'm going to
Right.
give the A's the regular season advantage. I think the Astros beat them in the playoffs, though, if it comes to that.
Solid. Yeah, I just like the Astros a lot. I mean, I think they're a solid team all around, and their offense is still pretty good despite losing Springer. So,
I think the big X factor is what Altuve does. If Altuve is back to his what we know that Altuve is, I mean, they'd probably take the division. At least it's easier to convince yourself that. But if Altuve's hitting 220 again, it's a little harder. Things get a little tougher
right. So, I mean, we'll
because they
see.
lost Springer, so they just have Correa and Bregman and whatever Gurriel still has in him.
Right, and we really haven't seen them with the full season of the whole, not cheating supposedly.
Right. Correa was
So,
still fine and Bregman was still pretty good, but they weren't. Correa was better almost. Bregman was not quite the same player, but we'll see how it looks over a full season. Maybe
right.
they just got to retrain themselves to not
Yeah.
rely on the video as much. So it'll be interesting to see. Altuve was getting booze at spring training today. I thought that was kind of cool.
Present.
We'll
But
get to experience that this year. AL wild card. Who's your two teams, and then who wins the matchup?
who wins the matchup? I guess I'll say Athletics. Why not? Solid, solid choice. And Blue Jays. And I'll have Blue Jays winning it. Um, I just think in one game their offense is better. They can prepare for one game, send out Ryu and then, maybe Yates for a couple innings and maybe Nate Pearson. I don't even
Call it a
know.
day.
Well, yeah. So, I
All
like
right, I
that.
took the Blue Jays appearing in that game, but I had the Astros beating the Jays, so we kind of flipped Astros and A's. But I'm gonna have the Astros beating the Blue Jays. I just think that, and we talked about it earlier. They've been here before. They've done the playoffs. They've done one game eliminations probably 5 times over the last 4 years, and I just think the Astros are a bit better prepared for that. They can throw the kitchen sink at the Blue Jays offense. I mean, we saw it last year. Urquidy, Valdez, Christian Javier gets in there. Say it's a Greinke start day. Greinke can lock it down for an elimination game.
Right.
I think the Astros are so underappreciated in their playoff performances, and it's going to show again this year. I hate to
Right.
say it, but NL East, what you got? Oh, who's your AL champion also?
AL champion who makes it. Uh, I hate to say it again, but Yeah, New York Yankees, AL champs. They have the easiest path. They are the
Yep.
favorites in the American League.
I'll agree on that one. I hate to say it too. I hate the Yankees with the burning passion, but I can't deny the potential that that team holds. If everyone in that rotation works out, they're right there with the Padres and Dodgers with their rotations. There's also a world where none of it works out. They're back to flipping a coin for starts, and injuries could plague them. But without actually having injured players, it's kind of hard to talk yourself out of the Yankees being the AL champs.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Even with injuries, they've had a bunch. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and their bench is quite good
right.
comparatively.
So yeah, um,
NL East, what you got?
NL East. I'm gonna go with the Braves.
Taking the Braves.
Yeah,
Fuck
Braves.
Pacoda.
So yeah, exactly. Pacoda, no. I'm not gonna go with the Mets. I'm gonna go with the Braves because I like their offense. I like their pitching, and see how it goes.
All right, all right. I don't know what just happened to my shit. Oh, there we go. Oh, I accidentally deleted like everything. I also took the Braves. I think they're just primed better than the Mets and the Nationals. Nationals didn't really add much besides Schwarber and Bell, who are coin flips in themselves. I just think the Braves are more solid all around. They just have a hole at third base, which if Austin Riley can hit, holes filled. So just think that's the safer option. Mets,
Right.
Mets are you can talk yourself into the Mets, but I'm just gonna lean Braves.
All right.
NL Central, I think we both agree on this one also. Cardinals.
I'm actually gonna go Brewers.
You're going Brewers? Okay. I would
Yeah.
love to go Brewers. I just can't convince myself fully.
I mean, I think Woodruff and Burns are better than Flaherty and
Kim.
whoever the number two pitcher is for the Cardinals. So, and then I mean, their other three guys, they're kind of, yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes.
I mean, bullpen and
I don't think
rotation
they're that
alone
great.
gets them there.
Right, their
It's just a little
bullpen
harder.
great, and then their offense. I mean, definitely, I think really good, and just their defense as a whole, their team defensively. So
There's
yeah,
no like clear hole. Left side of the infield,
there's no.
I
That's a good,
guess.
very good way to put it. There is no clear hole. So yeah,
Like
definitely left
Cardinals,
side.
the Cardinals outfield is a big question mark.
Right.
Dylan Carlson in left, top prospect. Tyler O'Neill in right, and Harrison Bader in center. I mean, that's compared to the Brewers that we just talked about earlier. Yelich, Kane, Garcia. I'll take the Brewers outfield over the Cardinals any day, but it's a close one for sure.
Yeah. I don't think we're agree on the next one either. But
Probably not. But I get it. Very much get it. I took the Dodgers for the NL West.
I'm gonna go with the Padres. Surprise, surprise. That's
Big shocker. Never
yeah.
saw
I
that one
mean,
coming.
I just think for a long season they're built for it, and their rotation is really good. I mean, I just think the rotation is just somehow getting like slept on. I mean, you Darvish after what he did last season, Blake Snell, insane. Demelsson, if you watched any of him last year, was just ridiculous. You know, throwing 99, slider looked ridiculous, spin rate off the chart. And then Paddock had a lot of potential. 2019, 2020 was not his year, but kind of the same thing for a lot of people. So we'll see how he rebounds. And then Musgrove looked really good last year. I mean,
He's a good in spring so far too.
yeah,
I think he's in springs.
yeah, and then I mean, Dodgers. I mean, I don't know if there's something to be said about maybe a World Series hangover or something, but we'll
Always
see.
happens in baseball.
Yeah, so it's not easy. I mean, Dodgers. You saw how hard it was for them just to get one. So I mean,
Yeah.
repeating. I mean, it makes sense because you look at this team on paper and it's otherworldly, but I mean, they lost a lot of key bench players. Their rotation is great. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see the 162 season. I like the Padres.
All right, I took the Dodgers. Um, I agree with everything you said. I just think that there's something to just how much better, not necessarily how much better they are with Trevor Bauer. I just think that they were already probably a pretty even team with the Padres, but I just think since the Dodgers have done it for, I think they've had 10 years where they've won the division. I just think they've been there longer and more consistently. The Padres 60 games could have been a fluke for all we know. I don't think it is, and I don't think most other people think it is, but like Slam Diego, do we see Slam Diego over a full season? Probably not. Not to that level. Machado goes cold. This offense kind of falls over, where if Bellinger goes cold on the Dodgers, it's a little bit different. They got other guys that are as good, if not better, than Bellinger to pick him up. Same can kind of be said for the Padres, but I think to a lesser extent. So I'm going with the Dodgers.
Right. I think they have some guys. I mean, the lineup really overall is really good. I mean, I think Nola can pick a lot of guys up. I mean, Hosmer is kind of my big question mark offensively. Same with Myers, is if he can repeat what he did last year. But Tatis, I mean, he might be better than Machado. So, I mean,
The supporting cast has to be there and do what they did last year for the Padres to stand a chance, I think.
right. But wild card definitely going with the Dodgers and Mets. So, and I mean,
Dodgers,
in one
Mets.
game, if it's Dodgers and Mets, I want to take the Mets,
Don't
but
you
I feel
fucking
like,
do it.
but just as a DeGrom, but I feel like then, like, if anything, they'd win the first 6 or 7 innings, but once they take DeGrom out, they lose the game immediately, and then I'll say Dodgers win. So yeah.
Dodgers in the wild card. All right. You know how pissed the Dodgers would be to start in the wild card?
I mean, it would be after 106. Like, let's say, like, what if like the Padres are just clearly gonna win the division the whole season, and then that they're at the point of the wild card game, then they're not gonna be as pissed, if it's like. But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Got some predictions. Who's your
I,
wild card teams?
I had Padres Mets. Padres taking it over the Mets. I just think that no matter how we shake it out this season, the Dodgers and Padres have the two best records at the end of the year. Like better than any AL team, better than any other NL team. Just think these are clearly the two best, and it's just a shame they're in the same division. I think Padres make it all the way to the CS though,
I really hope they
assuming
just
that
play each
oh
other in
that'd
the
be
playoffs.
impossible.
I really hope they play each other in the playoffs.
They're gonna have if the Padres take the wild card, assuming that
Well, with the wild card, you
either
never
brackets,
know.
whatever, they would meet each other.
Right.
Assuming they win the wild card, though, they play each other.
Oh,
Assuming
right,
that
right.
the first place team is the best
But
team in the first round.
yeah, and then making the World Series, I'm gonna have the Padres, and I'm gonna have them beating the Yankees to win it all. So
You're lucky you can pick your favorite team to be successful. I can't say the Orioles are going to beat the Dodgers in the World Series. There's no world. All right, that's fair.
it's easier to pick the NL than the AL this year, though. Anyway, but
It is. Yeah. Let me write down your pick. I had Dodgers over Yankees. I think they repeat. This is the best team we've seen probably since Babe Ruth's Yankees back in the 30s. So it's pretty hard to convince me otherwise that the Dodgers are probably the best team and the most primed to take the World Series.
all right, well,
So I will save this document. We will have it, and on November 2nd or whatever, we will review. We'll see it.
November
No,
2nd.
yeah, it'd have to be on November 2nd for the winners. Whenever the World Series is over.
I mean, even
Sometime
like
earlier.
October, we can check on it just to see our playoff predictions. So
We'll do an end of season check, and then we'll do an
right.
after postseason check.
I mean,
All right, well, that was all.
yeah.
What you got?
I was just gonna say I'm gonna remember my picks all year, so we'll just see how like I'm gonna like constantly like.
Yeah, I'm pretty locked into it.
Yeah, but
Actually, did have one more thing we could do. It's been a pretty short pod so far, so I'm gonna spin a wheel. Every team is on the wheel. We have to go for like a minute about whatever team it lands on. Do you think you can do it?
I'm gonna use fan drafts, but yeah.
All right, just give me like just the first thoughts and stuff. So our team, if it's the Padres, we're switching.
No.
It lands on the Mets.
All right. I mean,
All right,
you want to go first, or?
you can go first. We got some initial
Okay. I mean, I
thoughts.
actually really like the Mets. You know, they've had a lot of, their GM got fired, is doing some inappropriate stuff, but their offense is great overall. Love the Francisco Lindor edition. I love the Carlos Castro edition, and super solid
We forget they added
rotation.
James McCann too.
Right, McCann also super solid rotation overall. I think they're gonna get Syndergaard back at some point from Tommy John, and hopefully Ludo back later. And their bullpen actually looking really good with Betances, Familia. Hopefully we can see some
Trevor
great stuff
May.
from them. Yeah, Edwin Diaz. So
A lot of people don't know who Miguel Castro is. He was from the Orioles. I was sad to lose him, but he's got some pretty crazy baseball savant numbers. He's in like the top 90s percentile for like rotation or what is it, fastball spin, like things like that. He can just throw the crap out of the ball, and I think if he can get that command down, he is just as valuable as Betances or Familia or even Diaz. And I
wow.
just think that was just a quick trade addition that they had in August. So yeah, I really like this team a lot. I just don't know. It's the Mets, so I want to doubt them. That's why I gave the Braves the edge. But like even guys like McNeil and Nimmo and Conforto like are going to be central pieces of this offense that I think most people probably couldn't even name unless
Right.
you're in baseball world or in Mets world. But they still got Pete Alonso in that lineup. If Dom Smith is as good as he was last year, if not better, that's another really valuable piece. They're gonna have to stick him in left field though. That's the problem. Sorry to whoever else would start out there. James McCann behind the plate, above average catcher. They wanted Real Muto. It's okay that they didn't get him. And the obvious added Francisco Lindor via the offseason here. They traded for him. Yeah, I like the Mets a lot. I just always have that little creeping doubt that the Mets are gonna blow it. With their luck, Lindor will get hurt in like May, and then Pete Alonso will hit like 150. That'll
All right.
happen. All right, so I think that about wraps us up for today. You got anything else you want to add?
You want to spin the wheel down, or I mean,
do you want me to spin the wheel again?
how about we do this? We'll spin the wheel. We'll talk about one more team, but we'll spin it once. If we don't like that team, we can skip it, and then we'll spin it again. If we don't like that team, we can skip it, and then we'll spin it again. But then,
What team do you want to talk about?
actually, or no, we'll either talk. I don't even know. Just spin it twice. Spin it twice.
So the first spin doesn't matter.
Yeah, first spin doesn't matter. We just need
Well,
we
the
need
first
two.
spin,
We need
I'll
two.
tell you.
No, I wanna know what the first two are. Yeah.
The first spin is the Blue Jays.
Okay.
The second spin is the Dodgers. We just talked about the Dodgers, so that one doesn't count.
Okay, just spin it one more time and we'll pick this one. We have to pick this one.
Nationals.
Okay, Nationals. Same as the NL East, I guess. Or same NL East as the Mets. So, I mean, I think Nationals are being slept on severely. Their rotation looks really good. I mean, you talked about Lester as being their fourth. I mean, that would be, feels like that should be, some teams first, but I mean, he's not the same anymore, but still, like, they look really good on paper, and their offense, I mean, I think what's his name? Who's the first baseman they got?
Schwarber, Bell.
Yeah, Josh Bell. I think him and Soto are going to be really good together, and yeah, I think with Soto might be, he can just carry an offense like that. So, I mean, I like the
So
Mets a lot.
everyone knows what they did in 2019. Pretty insane redemption arc through the year. I think the X factor though is the third base hole that was created with Rendon leaving in free agency.
Right.
Carter Keyboom is the X factor. If he performs the way they think he can, or performs anywhere near that, just in the plus column, This offense changes a lot. I mean, the only weak points then would be like Castro and Gomes, who Castro can get. He hits singles pretty regularly. Not really a big power guy, but he gets on base. And then Yan Gomes is an above average catcher in himself. I just really hate their bench. I'll be honest. I don't know if you have the Fangraphs
Zimmerman.
pulled up, but
You don't like Zimmerman off the bench?
Zimmerman off the bench, Avila off the bench, Josh Harrison, who hasn't had a good year in probably 4 years, Gerardo Parra, and Andrew Stevenson. I absolutely hate this bench. I think it's borderline unusable. Like, even if you don't like the matchup on Schwarber, like say it's a lefty pitching, you don't have another option. Like it's too bad. You want to throw Josh Harrison up there? You want to throw Ryan Zimmerman up there?
Right.
It's not really any better. I think a lot of good teams have those good, at least pinch hitting options off the bench.
Right.
They don't really have a speed guy. They don't have a defense guy. Alex Avila is kind of a defensive catcher, but they don't really have like a lightning rod off the bench. There's the youngest guy in their bench, Stevenson. He's 27. The rest of the guys are 33 or older, almost 34. It's an old bench. I like the rotation a lot, though. That's kind of their big reverse card. Bullpen's good. It's decent. I think the bullpen's better than the what team was it we were looking at earlier? Oh, the Astros bullpen.
Yeah.
Based on the projected ERA, but they added Brad Hand. That was cool.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty solid dude. So
they lost Sean Doolittle, added Brad Hand, so net neutral, I think. Daniel Hudson's still there. He came over in the trade with Toronto last year or 2 years ago now. They like Tanner Rainey a lot. There's some pieces here.
Right. I think they have it going. So
I think this is it, though, for the Nationals, though. If they don't get it done, they are doomed for a long rebuild because they are the 30th MLB pipeline in baseball.
Really?
Quite terrible. Their top prospect is Jackson Rutledge, who is a hard-throwing righty starting pitcher, but he is it. Outside of him, there's nothing coming.
Right, and their pitching is super old. They have Corbin locked up, and Strasburg locked up for a while. I think Scherzer is going to be up soon, but he's getting up there in age as well. So
the longer they take, the longer it's going to be of a rebuild. I mean, they're just it's do or die this year, I think.
Right. So, I mean, yeah. Hopefully, I mean, this will be solid though, with some of these guys if they keep them locked up long term. But yeah.
They need to lock up Soto long term. They need to lock up Trey Turner, and I think they'll be in a little bit better of a position.
Right. Turner,
They got to
Soto,
trade those pieces. Maybe
Turner.
This trade deadline is kind of a big time for them. Maybe they're a 500 team at the deadline. They're 500, third in the division. They might just sell off and salvage what they can for a farm system.
But yeah. Did also say I like the idea of spinning the wheel though. That was cool.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought I'd have to like randomize all the teams on like a spreadsheet, but there was already a wheel made. So, any spring training thoughts? Obviously, the performances don't really matter that much, but how about the Tigers leading the Grapefruit League in wins?
I haven't checked any of that. I mean, I've watched some of the Padres spring training games, and yeah, I saw Hassan getting knocked over by some Padres, third base.
That's pretty good.
Minor leaguer. So yeah, it was kind of interesting, and yeah, it was kind of weird watching a Trevor Bauer pitch because I watched his one video where he went to like a McLaren and
oh my, wasn't that
dealership.
So stupid? Where he had the one eye closed.
Oh yeah,
so stupid.
I don't know, it's just crazy, like, seeing him, he's like, oh yeah, what McLaren should I buy? And then he's like customizing it online, and like, just watching him pitch, I'm like, oh, this is the same guy, like, just super rich. But it is really cool, because watching that Padres-Dodgers spring training game, that was probably the best one I've seen. I mean, it was just I mean, it was great. I mean, those are the two best teams in the league, so I think so. I mean, what else can you say? It was a great game. Got us like a lot of great pitching, a lot of great hitting. So yeah, just a lot
In
great to
years
see
past,
baseball.
were all the spring training games televised? Like, could you watch any Padres spring training game?
I don't know. I didn't really care that much last year.
I didn't either. I haven't owned a TV package for MLB in probably a few
Right,
years
and
now, so I don't see it.
I don't have a TV package this year, but I know that on the sites that we use and really all the streaming sites, they only it appears that they only are able to get the games that are televised, which makes sense. It's just more accessible. And yeah, I've been checking if the games are on a certain TV channel, and if they're not, then they're not televised. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'm assuming
Yeah,
that's always how it's been.
I think that's how it's out of character actually, because I used to watch a lot of the Tigers spring training games, like they were all televised, and now it's like if they don't have a TV crew there, they only have like one radio station that has broadcasters there. So I don't know what the deal with that is. We're watching top prospects from iPhone cameras. It's kind of been the meme,
Right.
the spring training, but
But yeah,
whatever.
the games that we have seen are pretty good, and it's just great to see baseball. And
We're seeing 9 inning games now.
Preseason for baseball, I feel like it's a lot better and closer to what the sport actually is than preseason for basketball or football. It's just it's pretty close to what it is. Yeah, you only
I think
see
people lock into spring training baseball more than they
Right.
do like NFL preseason gets a good amount of TV coverage, but I think NBA preseason, I think a lot of people don't even
But
know
both
that
of those are so
exists.
bad. Both of those are so bad. Even NFL. NFL gets it just because football's so popular, but the games, yeah, you might see, your favorite player for like one quarter. I mean, the same thing with these games. I guess you'll see, Tatis for like 2 innings maybe, or Blake Snell for an inning. But I mean,
Like
it
in
is
basketball, you're not excited about seeing like I don't Jake Layman get a few extra minutes off the bench, but you're more excited to see like Jared Kelnick off the Mariners come get
right,
a few at bats and
right, and yeah, the
a different
prospect
vibe.
system is totally different in baseball. You want to see, young like nobodies who you haven't heard of, I guess. So,
I'm a
so
sicko, so I like seeing like all these guys I never heard of. Ty France, my guy. I might buy a $20 jersey, Ty France jersey of the
I'll
Mariners.
do it, man. I'll do
Smacked a
it.
double.
Buy a Tim. Buy a Tim.
Buy a Kim jersey.
Him and Darvish. They're gonna become buddies and like they're gonna like stay in San Diego a long time. So
Nah, Ty France is gonna be a fringe all-star by 2023.
don't say
Mark
that,
my
man. We
words.
gave him up. We gave him up.
We gave him up.
Gave
It's
him up for
fine. Austin
Nola.
Nola will be up there.
Nola. He 900 OPS this year. I'm calling it.
It'd be like one of the better catching offensive seasons. Doable.
But yeah. Anything else you want to
And
say?
I'd like to mention Bobby Dahlbeck of the Red Sox. This just came
First
in my head.
baseman.
Yeah, he's got like 3 hits in his 5 at bats in spring training. All 3 are home runs.
Nice.
He's killing it. Other than that, I haven't seen too many like cumulative progression on any players. I haven't really been paying attention. But my Orioles keep getting blown out. We were on TV today. They lost to the Pirates of all teams, 13-1.
13-1. Oof.
I got shellacked on national TV.
What if they just don't win a game this season? Like, no, I'm just kidding. There's
Oh, and
100
162.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, we've been saying 162, but they're only playing they're playing a 150 or something like that. So.
They're playing as 162 as of right now.
Oh, really?
AAA got pushed back a month, but MLB is scheduled to finish out a full season.
Yeah, and it actually just got announced that stadiums are allowed to be open in California, but they're gonna have to
I saw
be
that.
a minimum.
Pretty
And
much, I think that makes pretty much every state or every stadium besides like the Blue Jays Rogers Center to have fans.
so yeah,
Have you seen ticket prices though?
no, they're probably gonna be really, yeah.
Guess how much a opening day Indians Tigers game is?
I mean, it depends on where you sit, but I'm assuming a couple hundred.
$200
Yeah.
for that low level of a game. I think Dodgers tickets were like in the 900 range.
Padres probably expensive as well.
Probably up there 700s.
That it was the good thing about the Padres being bad was cheap
Cheap
tickets.
tickets.
But definitely now, especially with COVID and less people. So, yeah, but we'll see. You know, maybe I'll work my way. I'll go to any game honestly. If yeah, at least said that I'm gonna check ticket prices.
Yeah, I want to go see my Double A baseball. In
Yeah.
hopefully by May they're playing minor league baseball. They got pushed back a month. All right, got anything else today? I think we're just about ready.
I'm good.
We're good. We will not have an episode next week. I'm going to Maine. Ready for that trip. 15 hours in the car on the way there. But
It'll be fun.
it should be fun. We're finally staying put for a spring break trip instead of like 3 different hotels in 4 days. So excited for that. But yeah, we will not have an episode.
All right.
All right, see you guys.